You know, there's something that I call the stages of Bigfoot. And I don't know where you are on this scale, but if you've made it this far along the series, it's time for us to get a little bit more serious about this. Obviously, Bigfoot is a thing, but for those of you who aren't perhaps as, haven't done quite as much reading, there is, what I've found as you look at this stuff, there's a bunch of stages that you go through regarding specifically the hominid or cryptid, or however you want to call it, known as Bigfoot. The first stage that most people go through is Bigfoot doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. That's just stupid. Why would you think that that's a real thing? That's something that people tell to scare your kids. You're a moron to think so. And then after you do just even a tiny bit of research and you see the literally thousands and thousands of reports which exist, you'll come to the conclusion that, okay, some of these people are seeing something. You know what I mean? Like they've got to be seeing something out there. So you'll come to the conclusion that maybe there was a creature that existed at one time, and then now it's not really around anymore. Maybe it's gone extinct. You know, I don't think that's the case. And then you'll get to another stage, where the third stage, I suppose, where you would say, oh well, yeah, looking at the vastness of the wilderness, there's probably an animal that exists out there that is like this, some relic hominid, which occurs, it's extremely rare, and that's probably what we're dealing with here is this relic hominid monkey type creature. And then over time, as you talk to more and more people and you get more and more involved with the research, you come to the conclusion that it's not a monkey. The way it's behaving and whatnot, there's this cognitive dissonance which occurs where you're like, how is this possible? You try to get to the stage where, how could you have this monkey and it's showing up in the grasslands, it's showing up in Florida, it's showing up all over the United States and Canada, it's showing up on every major continent except Hawaii, which is kind of interesting in its own right. But everywhere you go, they got these Bigfoot there. And that leads, most people at that point will no longer chase it because it starts to hurt your brain. You start to get to a point where, like I covered in the video about, some side effects may occur. Reality starts to get just a little bit shaky. But invariably, if you're like any of the researchers like Jacques Vallée or Ivan Sanderson or Philip and Brogno or really anyone who's spent any serious amount of time, even David Paulides he doesn't say so, but we all kind of know that he is, well, they've got to be going somewhere. They have to be going somewhere. Where do they go? Maybe they jump on spaceships. Maybe they jump through portholes. Maybe they, phase out of existence. But they have to go somewhere. There's no way that these creatures can just no longer exist. I mean, where's the Darwinian down pressure? We're talking about a creature that is pretty much the perfect version of an alpha predator. Bears are scared of these things. Dogs are scared of these things. Wolves are scared of these things. We should be thick with these guys. There should be, nothing's killing them. There's no Darwinian down pressure at all on Bigfoot. And invariably, you come to the inescapable conclusion that Bigfoot, A, exists, and B, he's got to be leaving this world somehow. He's got to be vanishing. And how and the whys of that, I don't know. That's something that we're going to find out. But definitely, there's some kind of technology that these creatures are using or utilizing, or the ability to track naturally occurring breaches, naturally occurring portholes, naturally occurring gateways, what I call world breaches. They have to be, because otherwise they'd be everywhere. And, in the United States, we'd find them. And, they'd be on the hood of a car pretty quick. Maybe that's the case. Maybe they've already been found and it's all being repressed. But I'll tell you one thing that I know for sure. It's really interesting that when you go through these reports and sightings, especially reports where people say they've killed these things, the same kind of men in black and government employees show up at the same UFO crashes and UFO sightings. And what does that mean?